Hello and welcome to the third section of chapter 13 on motivation, or emotion, excuse me. We're doing emotion. We're going to look at the nature of stress today, which maybe you're stressed watching this because you're stuck at home and you have to do this online learning thing. I don't know. Maybe it's much later and you're still stressed because life is tough. So stress and the body. Hans Sayel wrote I don't know if that's how you say it. I'm stressed. If I mispronounce that, I hope he's not going to come find me. The stress of life. The body's response to external stressors was general adaptation syndrome, is what it used to be called. And there's a phase. We go through the alarm phase where the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, your heart rate increases, and your fight or flight response to a threat kicks in when it's stressed. Then you have the resistant phase where you resist or cope with the stressor. You try to put it down or you just deal with it. It makes our bodies weaker when you endure and resist stress continually and over a long period of time. And then there's the exhaustion phase where persistent stress depletes the body of energy. It basically hurts your immune system. It does a lot of things. It eventually can literally kill you. Stress can kill you. Stress reactions are unhealthy in the long term. Not all stress is bad. Some stress is positive. Getting psyched up before a game or having butterflies in the stomach before a test is good. It helps focus your mind. It helps motivate you. And small amounts of stress are actually a good thing. But stress, high levels of stress, and continued stress for a long period of time are not good for your body. So some of the current approaches, stress activates the hypothalamus, which the messages through the sympathetic nervous system, the endocrine glands. Cortisol, which is your stress hormone, is released to elevate blood sugar levels to kind of get you going. It can lead eventually with elevated stress and cortisol being in the blood too much to hypertension, which is high blood pressure, depression, other disorders, and craving comfort foods, which is, stress backwards is desserts. So if you're stressed, eat desserts. Probably not. That's not a good way to cope with stress. That's called an eating disorder. People's responses to stressors vary widely. There's cultural responses, there's social responses, there's age and gender. Eventually, it does weaken the immune system, and prolonged stress can suppress your white blood cells. And so people with prolonged stress, they can get sick more. And so if you're sick, then you're stressed about that, which then weakens you further, which is a downward spiral. The effects on the body, and so some of the things that will affect your body, work-related problems. When you are stressed at work or at school, it increases your vulnerability to a cold. Some people are very stressed out. They're very sickly as well. Noise, consistent loud noise, contributes to cardiovascular problems, irritability, fatigue, aggressiveness. So if you have children in your home and they're running around crazy, it's wearing on you. It can actually hurt your heart. It causes stress. If you live by railroad tracks or airport, all those things can lead to increased stress. Bereavement and loss, breakups, or losing a loved one is a huge thing that causes stress for people across the globe. You are more vulnerable to illness at that time. And then poverty, powerlessness, and low status. Lower classes in the socioeconomic spectrum have worse health and higher mortality rates. They're more stressed, and it kills them eventually. But some people's health are affected by chronic stressors, but most people living with stress don't get sick. The majority, yes, it contributes. It leads to more increased illnesses and things like that, but most people simply cope with it and get by. It doesn't mean that if you have a tough job and it's loud and you're not doing well and your girlfriend broke up with you and you don't have a lot of money that it's going to kill you. Most people can get by, but a lot of people, it does increase their chances of having worse diseases, hypertension and heart disease. Why? Mindset, that goes into the mind, the cognitive field of psychology. So some people manufacture their own misery. Some people are pessimists and they worry and they have anxiety. And so there's optimism versus pessimism. Optimism is better for your health. It's good to have a positive mindset, to look at the bright side of life, to look at the glass being half full. My cup is half full of tea. It doesn't work with serious illnesses, though. You can't have a positive mindset and stave off cancer. Little colds and things like that, yes, you can overcome that. That's why me personally, I'd say I never get sick. Sometimes I don't feel well, but I want to admit to being sick because I want a positive mindset. Pessimistic people do self-destructing things more often. And so overall, if you want to have a healthier mind, a healthier body, Count your blessings, not your burdens. Be a positive person. Be more optimistic. Be like this electrical outlet, not this one here. So the sense of control. There's something in psychology called the locus of control, which is a general expectation about whether you can control things that happen to you. If you're in control of your life or not. If you're in control, guess what? You have less stress. You have a better outlook. You have better health. If you don't feel like you have control over your life, you have more stress and worse health. So an internal locus of control is people that believe that they are responsible for what happens to them. They control their own destiny. External locus of control, they don't have control, so they blame everyone else. It's the government's fault. It's my parents' fault. It's my teacher's fault. It's your fault because you're not liking my videos enough or sharing them. It's your fault that I only have 45 followers on YouTube. The internal locus of control, I'm kidding, by the way, is associated with good health, academic achievement, political activism, and emotional well-being. If you don't like what's going on, change it. Fix it yourself. Don't depend on others. And that gives you more of a sense of control in your life, and it helps you succeed more. People with the greatest control of their job have fewer illnesses, less stress. People caught in situations they cannot escape, that's a big threat to your health. So make sure you take control of your life. Some other things, got some strange brew going on here. The limits of our control. Eastern and Western cultures have different attitudes towards control. In the West, we like primary control, where people try to influence events by trying to exert direct control over them. Like I just said, you got a problem? Fix it. Take control and do it yourself. That's the West. In the East, that secondary control is where you accommodate to a bad situation by changing your own aspirations and desires. I guess that didn't work. I'll just adapt myself to fit what's going on. And so in Strange Brew, the brakes are cut out here, and they're supposed to crash. And so Bob McKenzie says, "No point in steering now. Like what's the point now? I'm giving up control. I'm just adapting." So moving on. That's all I have today. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you learned anything. If not, just at least check out Strange Brew. Really funny movie from the 80s.